How many of you have ever been on a trip and had a tour take place? Been on a trip. Been agog at what you've seen on the trip. Excellent. Recently I went to Las Vegas and we decided we were going to go to Red Rock Canyon. We looked in all the listings and found one we thought we liked because they had ones that were all day and that one through there in the botanical gardens, and they had ones for half a day, and we went for half a day. And as we were going out to start seeing the canyon, we passed the building, and when I saw the name of it, it just grabbed me. It was called Life Storage. And how apropos, how many times has somebody come in this door and the life is on storage? They haven't moved from page 1. They're still back in the old place, Life Storage. And that just hit me, and it's sad. So we continued our journey, and I had many questions, but I was smart enough to know from the previous trip that we had doing in China, when somebody on the tour knew everything, more than the tour guide, to keep my mouth shut. Particularly since this person that was doing the tour was half-Paiute Indian, and we were going to visit Indian places. Now, I did have a few questions, and because I held back, they were actually pertinent to something. We did some things on this trip that were kind of a little frightening. I wouldn't say I was agog. I was more frightened than agog. Kenny told us, now we're going off here, and if you see any rattlesnakes, don't worry, just call me. I've been bitten by them because I was raised as a Paiute Indian. They used to have us bite, the snakes bite us all the time, so we get used to the venom. And he says, I've been so many times I can't tell. I can't tell you how many times I've been there. Experience. Oh, this person knew what he was doing. He took us places that the other guides didn't know because they weren't Indians. And then he took us to a place off the beaten trail. It was kind of hard to get to. My wife was having a rough time with her cane getting there, but we got down there, and again he said, be careful of the snakes, watch out for the snakes. So there's no terror there. He had us gather some beads, and then we walked back to another place where they had done the sacrifices. And he said a lot of guides don't realize what this was, but it was a sacrificial pit, and the Indians there used to make sacrifices, but it wasn't human sacrifices, it was animal sacrifices. And he said, you have these beads in your hand, and he says, for goodness sakes, don't crush them. That's what put those handprints up on that wall that have been there for hundreds and hundreds of years. We went on that beautiful tour. You might say, what does that have to do with my speech, which has to do with mentoring? It has a lot to do with it. The first thing on that tour, we only took what we needed. We left our bags and baggage back in the hotel room. And when you start on a Toastmasters tour and you're mentoring somebody, they bring all their baggage, all their fears, all their anxieties, all the I can'ts, all the this and all the that. And you have to convince them that they no longer need that baggage because you're going to help them. You're going to take them down this path. And you know how to go. And it would be wise that they would listen to you, because we may have done this a time or two. So the more I thought about the tour and the things that happened there, the more I thought about mentoring, because Kenny was a great tour guide. He showed us many things. We learned many things on the tour. One, because we kept our mouth shut, and two, because we listened to him. So he set boundaries for us. And that's what you've got to do with your mentees. You have to set boundaries. You have to say, this is what times I'm willing to help you. This is what times we can meet. This is what times I'll be available. Just like I couldn't start that tour in the morning because they weren't ready to go. You have to set boundaries with your mentor and your protege. Another big thing that we had to do on this trip, and has to do with your protege, is you have to listen to them. That is the hard thing. Because they have so much baggage that they want to bring with them, that they want to throw at you, and you have to let them get rid of it so that they can go on the tour. At the same time, you want to promote independent thinking with your proteges, rather than saying, I think you ought to do your speech this way, and you ought to do this, and you ought to do this, and because I did this, you ought to do this. That's not being a mentor, that's being a coach. So one of the things I really like about the mentoring program and pathways, aside from it being set out and no extra charge, anybody can do it once they reach level 2, you get all this guidance that really helps you as a Toastmaster get better speeches. You have shared goals, set specific time frames, they're measurable goals, they're attainable goals, they're relevant, and they're timely. And so in the first aspect of this, because you will hear my second speech when I go to the longer aspect, this is just the short term for the mentoring, where we set short-term goals. And I sat down with my protege, and I said, I think you ought to do this. Oh, no, I can't do that. I said, if you won't do this, at least do this. No, I can't do that. Well, try this. Okay, I think I can do that. You can only take them so far like this, and then eventually they have to realize that what they can do and what they can accomplish if you do your job well is so much more than I can accomplish, that they're going to leave their handprints on the walls of the canyon for everybody to see.